Hello, I'm going to be going over a miscellaneous item tutorial using the RPG Creation Kit. That being said, let's get started. This is my third time trying this. Actually, I recorded and finished the complete thing once and realized that my microphone was off. That was something I should have tested, but I didn't because I like to make mistakes, it seems. Anywho, we're going to remake the hammer, which is going to be right here. I'm going to use this particular one, and I'm going to make a second a second hammer item, and I'm not actually going to use. I'm doing this just for the tutorial. So I'm going to be removing all of its components. There, and here. In fact, I'm just going to remove the prefab part. There we go. So now it is just a regular hammer that doesn't even have, well, no, it does have collision. I made collision for it. Right here. Turn this back on. There we go. It doesn't seem to be showing this very well. There it goes. Now it's on. Okay, so there is the hammer with its collision, as you can see in the editor. So that being said, one of the very first things we need to do is make our scriptable item. How we're going to do that is go down to the RC or create, and then RCK creation kit. We're going to be using items, and this is a miscellaneous item. One of the best things that you can do to help yourself out later on is kind of do as the creation kit shows and make your bracket. This will kind of help you organize things later on. You'll be glad you did it. And label it as it is. Now I've already made one, so you'll see it put a 1 after it, and that is fine. I'm not worried about it. And we're going to fill all this out here in a little bit. We're not going to do it right now, but I am going to go ahead and I'm actually going to change the name of this. That's to delete me. That way I remember to delete it later on after this tutorial. I'm going to drag and drop it in here. That way I know which one it is. Still says delete me. After you have your hammer already set up exactly the way you want it, what you will want to do is go down to the RPG Creation Kit menu item, go to Create New, and Item in World. Now this one's pretty simple. You just drag and drop it into here, and you can name it whatever you want to name it. And I've been over this a few times on other tutorials, which this is the physical collider, which means this is the thing that tells it when it's going to smack into the wall, for example. And then you have a trigger collider. The trigger collider is what your raycaster hits that will allow your character to be able to pick it up. Your avatar in game. So those are two different things. This one here, you want it to be pretty close to exact as you can get it without being too high poly, or else it'll drop your frames per second. And then this one here, you want it to be a little bit bigger, so that way you can have more room to play, without screwing it up completely. And then the next one is your item reference. This is your scriptable object. We're going to find the right one. Now that we got that in place, this is a little bit different than... No, that's right. That's how it is on all of them. Is owned by NPC. You can hit yes or no. I want to select no. Then the amount is just 1. Save as prefab, no. You can definitely change anything you want on here to suit the way that you want it to be a little bit better. I'm going to hit complete and close, and there you go. You've successfully made it. Now this is the one that you've made so far. You will notice that your colliders are pretty far off. That is because the way that I did it, this works better for me. Now, originally, the way that it's set up is that the item that is right here is a mesh item, but instead I use that as a holder for my LOD. So mine's a little bit different. Yours won't have this huge box like that. It'll actually be a whole lot more accurate. But also, that being said, my mesh collider has no reason to be right there. I can hit remove component, and my collisions are right here, so that can just be gone. Your box collider, this is your trigger. So that being said, you can click on this and you can adjust it where you want it to be, however you want it to be. But since I already have this this hammer done somewhere else, I'm going to just simply copy component, and I'm just going to paste. Save myself some time. Let's see here. Paste component is new. There we go. Bam. Now, I always make it a little bit bigger than the actual item, because if it's not, it seems like it's just really hard to get in just the right position to be able to pick it up. And I found that making the box a little bit bigger just helps overall. That being said, this part is really already done. Silvamat did a good job in making this very simple. As simple as it gets, to be honest. So there's your item, your miscellaneous scriptable object, which is right there. You can change anything you want it to. You can change all this as you want it to be. Mine is not going to be owned by anybody, and it will be owned by the cell owner, which I have that set up a little bit differently than the way he does, so I won't show that. But there's only one hammer, and it can be dragged. Yes, that means when you walk up to it, I believe originally the key for that is Z. You hold down Z and you can just kind of walk around with it, kind of floating in midair. It's kind of neat. And intentionally destroy, that would be where you can whack it with a hammer or a sword and it'll break. I'm not going to do that with this one. This one here, I really don't think should be really shown to where you can select and unselect it. It should be kind of disabled, or or like, I don't know, maybe make a title above it to where it says for testing or whatever, because those are both of these are really nothing that we should be touching. This is edited in game. If you actually create the item, let's say you have like a crafting station, you make a hammer, then it would definitely be an is created item, and all this here would be filled out. But this isn't going to be created, so we're not worrying about that. And events, these are for quests. I will cover that in a different tutorial, more for quests, because that's a pretty big, long explanation. World Space ID will be filled out on its own, actually, which is pretty cool. Whenever you update your cell, it'll fill that out. And the GeoID string, you don't want to do that yet. You want to do that later on, because here in a little bit, we're going to be taking this, dragging, dropping it, and saving it over our original prefab. That way, there will not be one to start off with. So we're going to wait and do that a little bit later. Now we are ready to be messing with the scriptable object. You can fill out all of it here, which is kind of, I don't know, it's not as easy because, number one, the item script. The item script is so much easier inside this editor. Now we're going to be changing its ID. It's going to be 00 blacksmith hammer delete. That way I don't save this. The name of it's just going to be blacksmith hammer. Whoop. There we go. Okay, now what this one here, the name of it, that's what's going to be showing up in your inventory. That's going to be showing up on your screen. That's what it's going to be known as in-game. Your ID is more for the actual scripting end of it. So you want to make sure this is very unique. I always put 2 zeros in front of it. That way I know that it's ID. And then I try to be Not very vague on it. You know, this is specifically a blacksmith hammer. I'm only going to be making one type of blacksmith hammer, so it can just stay like this and it'll be just fine. And you can change its weight here, its value here. I suggest using a Google sheet or Microsoft Excel sheet, and uh, make a price sheet. That way you can kind of keep things well balanced in game. As you're going, you can reference it and add in things as you're making them. That's something I haven't done yet, and I'm way behind on that. I really need to get back on that. But whenever, let's see here, let's do the item in world. Which one is it? Here it is. We're going to take it, just drag and drop it. And I like to move it to where it'll look good. Something like this. And then I use Windows screenshot like that, which is Windows Shift and S. And then you can screenshot it. And then you go down to GIMP, and you see I've already done it. We're going to do it again. Bam, there it is. And I like to go down to the colors, and I desaturate it. Because black and white is actually a lot higher of detail for your eyes to see. And I'm going to be using the select by color, and I delete out the background. And then I go down to colors, brightness, contrast, and I usually hit about 71, 78, whatever. You can kind of adjust that, and the more white and black you have in there, you can kind of see better detail. Something like that right there. When you're done, you will just hit export and save as, or export to, whichever one you want. You go back in game, and you see I've already made one, which is right here. Then you can just drag and drop it into the spot. Bam, there's our hammer. And you can configure your sounds. This is pick up, drop, add to inventory, remove from inventory, on equip to use. So you can just drag and drop, or you can click on these and add your sounds in. When you are all done, you'll just click on OK. Of course, that's quest item is cumulable. If you don't know what that means can you have more than one in your item inventory? Yes, you can. Click it. If not, then leave it unchecked. Click on OK, and now let's click on it again. This is the right one. And there it is. It's mostly all filled out. Your tooltip is only like, let's say it's a magical item or something special about it. You can use it and type in whatever you want, and it'll show up inside your inventory like that when your mouse goes over it. It's kind of handy for that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I really don't use it for anything. And let's see here. I believe everything else is on the configure item. So you have your item, which is right there on the ground. Everything's all filled out all nice and neat. Actually, I didn't do that yet. When you're all done, you can drag and drop it over your prefab. There we go. All your information's all filled out. Here's your item, your scriptable item, and then when you're done, you will need to update your cell by going to cell info and update cell. Let it save. After that's done, you'll want to go down to the RPG creation kit, and you'll hit the update. There it is, update all databases. Whenever it's done, you are actually done. You can go in game and you'll be able to pick it up, and it'll show in your inventory. Congratulations. If you have any questions, comments, or anything you'd like to add, please show that. Please use the comments in YouTube for that.